As I was walking out of the 99-cent store, I noticed a young woman preparing to play her ukulele outside of the store. I was wondering why she was about to play here of all places during a cold fall night, so I went up to her and started talking to her. She was so kind, respectful, and had such a glowing personality to her that made me feel warm. I asked why she was outside in the cold and not at home, and that's when she told me she didn't have one. Homelessness is a problem that needs to be resolved. Ending homelessness will improve our communities and help those individuals in need. I've never been homeless, but I've been friends with a number of people who have been. Those friends have shared some of their personal experiences with me on what it's like to be homeless. Therefore, I have some insight on what it's like. And after doing some research, I've become specialized in it. According to the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development's 2019 Annual Homeless Assessment Report to Congress, published in January 2020, 567,715 people, about 17 of every 10,000 people in the US, were experiencing homelessness across the country. The Census Bureau of the United States has reported that there are 30 countries with total populations that are equal to or less than 555,987. This means that our homeless population is greater than the total population of at least 30 other countries. I will begin by proving to you that homelessness is a problem for everybody because it does not only affect the individuals but our communities as well. Then I will go over two solutions that help get rid of homelessness, starting off with providing long-term housing options for them and finishing off with donating to organizations that help fight against it. Let's get started. Homelessness is a problem because it affects the communities and the individuals. The cost of homelessness is much higher than you think it is. According to the U.S. Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, Sean Donovan, in an interview conducted in March of 2012, it costs about $40,000 a year for a homeless person to be on the streets. Shelters, emergency rooms, and jails account for most of this cost that comes out of the taxpayers' money, aka community members' money. Homelessness presents a threat to public health. People who sleep on the streets live in unsanitary conditions that can damage their immune system. This makes them susceptible to viruses and diseases that they can pass along to the general population through public contact. People's safety and property are at risk with homelessness. Many homeless people suffer from mental illnesses due to their past traumas and the environment they currently live in. It causes some of them to inflict violence on others and some to violate other people's properties. These acts threaten the well-being and the security of the community. Social isolation is created through homelessness. Many who have experienced homelessness are overcome with isolation and shame, while those who have been fortunate enough not to experience it may never know what it's like. This misunderstanding leads to some of these fortunate people to believe that those who are homeless simply choose not to work because they are lazy. These differences in their viewpoints divide them, creating this social isolation between these two groups who are a part of the same community. The final problem that I will bring up with homelessness is the fact that it is detrimental to the individual. According to the National Coalition for the Homeless, in an article titled Remembering Those Lost to Homelessness, published in December 2018, in 2016, we estimated that at least 13,000 people pass away each year while without housing. These numbers are due to many reasons, including but not limited to violence, starvation, drug overdose, illness, and harsh weather conditions. In 2017, there was a massive outbreak of hepatitis A virus sweeping through the homeless in the US. According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, from an article titled Morbidity and Mortality Weekly Report, published November 2018, during 2017, California, Kentucky, Michigan, and Utah reported 1,521 hepatitis A infections. Many homeless people died, and similar things are happening today due to the presence of COVID-19. However, because this is a recent event, we have yet to accumulate the toll it has taken on the homeless. Now that we can definitively say that homelessness is a problem, let's get into how we're going to solve that problem. The first solution is to offer long-term housing by expanding seasonal shelter operations, by expanding seasonal shelters to operate year-round. Winter shelter programs in the United States give people without homes a place to stay overnight. Typical shelters open around 5 p.m. and close around 7 a.m. every day of the week for the duration of the program. According to the Union Rescue Mission, from an article titled It's Time to Stop Looking Away, access December 4, 2020, city and county funding of these shelters must be expanded so that anyone who becomes homeless can have a roof over their heads. Yes, it will cost money, but if we were to expand these programs to run 365 days of the year, these people will have a much needed safe place to stay every night and could potentially save a lot of lives. According to the city mission of Cleveland, Ohio, in an article titled Finding Shelter Isn't So Simple, accessed December 6, 2020, Erica and 6 freezing little children found themselves homeless. These were brutal days when the temperature plummeted well below 32 degrees. With the sharp wind and biting air, walking from the car to the office felt intolerable. Sadly, the truth is that many men, women, and children, like Erica and her family, spent not only a few moments in the harsh elements, but days. If we were to make this change, to open these programs year round, people like Erica and her 6 adorable little children would not have to suffer quite as much. Expanding winter shelter programs is the first solution. Now let's get to the second one. The other solution is to donate to organizations that provide services for the homeless. Donating food and clothing will help put food in the mouths of and clothes on the backs of these people. According to the Save the Children organization from an article titled Nothing is as Fierce as a Mother's Love, Fachima's story, accessed December 6, 2020, no mother should have to watch her child starve, but Maria did. In the midst of a food crisis, hunger is stalking Maria's young daughter, Fachima. Plenty of people are starving and are in need of support to survive. If you donate food and clothing to organizations like the Los Angeles Mission Organization, they will help get those resources to the people who so desperately need them. Another type of donation that helps the homeless is a donation of money. If you donate money to organizations like the Salvation Army, they will use that money to provide homeless shelters, transitional housing, permanent supportive housing, reentry resources, alcohol and drug rehabilitation centers, and so on. If we all as individuals and as a community were to donate some money to organizations like these, it'll make a significant contribution to ending homelessness. In addition to feeling like a wonderful human being, if you donate to certain qualified charitable organizations, you can put it on your taxes to lower your taxable income. Now that we have covered our solutions, let's recap what we have learned so far. I began by proving to you that homelessness is a problem for everybody, including the individuals experiencing it and our communities. I then went on to provide solutions for homelessness. The first was providing long-term housing options for them. The second was by donating to organizations that are fighting against homelessness. Homelessness is a problem that needs to come to an end. I have created a petition on change.org to expand winter shelter programs to open year-round. Please sign it and go donate anything you can to the Salvation Army. The link to my petition and the Salvation Army are provided below. I ended up covering the remaining costs the woman outside of the 99-cent store needed to get an Airbnb for the night. She had not eaten all day because she was trying to save all of her money to get a room. So I bought her some food, offered her a ride, and we exchanged phone numbers before going our separate ways. A few days later, I received a disturbing message from her that gave me a glimpse as to how horrible her life really is. She let me know that it's difficult for her to even muster the will to live. She told me that she has no family to rely on. She told me she does drugs to help cope with the emotional warfare going on inside of her so that she can work to hopefully provide some shelter for the night. And she told me that sometimes she has to physically tell herself no when she gets the urge to walk into incoming traffic. I sent back some words of encouragement, but ever since that day, I haven't heard back from her. I cried that night I got those messages. This happened last month in November 2020. She's 21 years old. I hope she's doing okay. Please help these people. Thank you.